कुमार स्वामी नायक गोंगो लिबू लटोका रेडियो फीजी 2 में पुराना गाना लगे हमें बहुत अच्छा लगे।
रेडियो फीजी 2 देश की धड़कन।
In the news tonight, 2 expats isolated in Navur for COVID-19 treatment. Kava exports improve. And consultations on housing lots extended.
From the studios of FBC Suva, Atera Lendua.
2 members of a fishing vessel have been isolated at the Navur Hospital for COVID-19 treatment. Permanent Secretary for Health, Dr. James Fong, confirms they are non-Fiji citizens who arrived on the 2nd of this month on board the MV Island Chef to deliver cargo. Sanya Nimboila reports 2 crew members were on board the vessel and the remaining 10 tested negative.
All crew members of the MV Island Chief had tested negative during a crew exchange in New Zealand before sailing for Fiji. However, a pre-departure test here returned positive results.
The first tested positive twice on the December 4th and December 6th. The second member has tested negative on December 4th, then positive on December 6th. Now, the positive results are both what may be called, in our language, we call it weak positive, indicating that a very small amount of viral material was present in that material, in the sample. Based on these results and the fact that both crew have no symptoms, the indication is that they are at the end of an illness process and they are what we call historical cases.
Dr. Fong says 21 Fijian officials, including customs officers who boarded the MV Island Chief for document exchange, are in quarantine, while their casual contacts have been identified.
Until we have established that there is no risk of transmission in the community, the Colonial War Memorial Hospital and Lotoko Hospital will operate at reduced capacity. Again, we are acting out of an abundance of caution in the interest of our people's health and well-being. Fiji has always applied a rigorous approach to our containment of the virus.
Major Naomi Bakande Mbuka of the Republic of the Fiji Military Forces Quarantine Enforcement and Planning says they're working with the Health Ministry to man quarantine facilities.
We are glad to support the Ministry of Health in this quarantine process, and on behalf of RFMF, it's an issue that we see as a national duty to support health and protect all Fijians, closely consulting with the health to provide us assistance, whether it's medical advice or psychological advice on how to deal with our people coming in, and we are applying that with the best of our ability.
As a safety precaution and to reduce the number of people coming into the CWM and Lotok hospitals, the 2 facilities will be operating on reduced activities. Sainia Nimboila, FBC News.
Permanent Secretary of Health, Dr. James Fong, says one of the major difficulties they face in relation to COVID-19 is harnessing public trust. Speaking at the Attorney General's conference yesterday, Dr. Fong shared the experience with a few cases Fiji had and how the ministry tackled it. Felipe Narikoso reports.
Getting people to understand COVID-19 when it hit Fiji proved troublesome for the Ministry of Health.
The smarter people, the more educated people, will come to me and say, look, these are the set of conditions that will ensure that I am safe. And I will say to them, yes, that is the set of conditions that make you safe. But you see, the poor guy down the road, he doesn't look at your set of conditions. He looks at the fact that I've given you special privileges.
Dr. Fong also shared the difficulties with discharging patients, especially after the science of testing people changed a few months down the line.
We had one case that was staying for close to 70 days. And he was testing positive. And we shot our own foot because every test, we were announcing it every day. The person was within his right, and he knew that science had changed. He was within his right to tell me, Dr. Fong, if I was somewhere else, I would have been discharged 7 times already. I scratch my head because if I discharge him, the rest of the population will say unfair.
While closing the conference, Attorney General Ayesed Kayum also stated that many people in Fiji still think the Care Fiji app tracks their movements and records personal data.
Most of you have WhatsApp. Most of you have Viber. You have given them more information about yourself than to anybody else.
Said Kayum says that even today, many people he meets are still reluctant to download the app. Philippe Narikoso, FBC News.
6 houses in Waindamundamu's squatters settlement in Nosori have been rented out. This was revealed in a recent socio-economic survey by the Ministry of Housing, surveying around 270 households in the settlement. Minister Pramila Kumar says people are sneaking in to build new houses overnight when they discover that a settlement is about to be subdivided. Kritika Kumar reports.
Households were asked to disclose all required information during the socio-economic survey, but this information will be verified by the ministry.
The ministry has to verify now. So they will be doing a title check, with the titles office in case they have some other property. And they will also check with FNPF and with FERTS.
The ministry has also removed some of incomplete houses that were built in Waindamundamu settlement, which were being misused.
These incomplete homes, it becomes a problem for the community because that's where some youths are found taking drugs or they are consuming alcohol and they become nuisance. So in one of our visits to Dombati Mama's place, similar issue was raised. And that's when we made a decision that all incomplete houses in informal settlement will be removed.
The Permanent Secretary has called on those living in informal settlements to not get involved in illegal activities.
One thing that we all need to understand when we are especially living in an informal settlement is that land is not his or hers until you get a proper title. So all those who are living in informal settlements, they are living in someone else's land or through a temporary arrangement. It's very important that they sort of live as a community. And
the ministry has extended the closing date for submissions on the proposed lot allocation policy in informal settlements until 15 December 2020. To date, 1,988 people have attended public consultations around the country. Kritika Kumar, FBC News.
The Fiji Kava Task Force is working on improving quality and standards so that the business can move to a new level. Chair Vio Veretawatini says despite the global pandemic, the export continues. Veretawatini says kava is a top commodity, raking in $32.5 million in exports, and most of it going to the U.S. market. Kritika Kumar reports.
The Fiji Kava Task Force believes the credibility and safety of kava is vital to ensure improved international market access.
Some of our kava has been rejected from the US market, but we're planning on improving the quality of kava going out from Fiji.
The task force is also training farmers on quality standards to improve the way kava is produced, harvested and prepared for consumption and export.
The US counterpart from US has made some reservation, so there's some extra work needs to be done in the next 6 months with the US counterpart, especially the Food Drug Administration team.
Farmer Plus Export Market Systems Facilitator believes kava is consumed widely and its quality should not be compromised.
So it's important to also highlight that whatever kava is being produced in Fiji are actually of noble variety, and they do meet the food safety requirements in the market.
The task force will continue to provide the central coordination, planning and consultation mechanisms for the development of the industry in Fiji. Kritika Kumar, FBC News.
A flash flood alert remains in force for low-lying areas and areas adjacent to small streams of the eastern half of Onolevu, Tabiuni and low-lying areas of the eastern part of Vitilevu. A trough of low pressure lies just to the west of Fiji and is slowly moving eastwards towards the country. Associated cloud and rain continues to affect the group. there is a risk of flash flooding of low-lying areas and flood-prone areas during persistent localized heavy falls. The general public is advised to avoid crossing flooded rivers, creeks and roads. Up ahead, Singatoka vendors see small improvements. And in Successful Fijian, a woman leading by example in Kandavu.
मैं तो दिल्ली में रहता हूँ और रेडियो फीजी बहुत रेडियो फीजी रोज सुनता हूँ.
रेडियो फीजी 2 देश की धड़कन.
Confusion over stall ownership along Nokonoko Road in Suva has led to a feud between two market vendors, both claiming they have the right to the stall. The situation has led to heated arguments and serious accusations. Kelly Badala reports.
Vendor Amit Kumar, a fresh produce supplier, claims his stall was forcefully captured a few weeks ago without a valid reason.
I see all my stuffs are in the sun here, getting rotten. And this produce need a shelter.
Kumar claims that vendor Apimelek Imbaravilala threatened him and forced him out of the store, claiming its license to his daughter.
I have showed him all my documents, everything. The market master too is telling him, but he's not listening. And he's got two tables in Superfresh. He's blocking me, he's telling me to go from this bus stop. Where am I going to go? I've been selling here for past 15 years.
Baravilala's wife says the matter has been raised with the authorities but is proving difficult to settle.
Okay, I felt sorry for him. You can have half, so we sell ours on the half side. And he said, no, you take your things and you put it on the, you can sell on the roadside, you can sell on the footpath. I said, no.
Serious accusations of illegal activities are also being made, but FBC News has not seen anything as such.
So the market master rang us. We end up to the office with my daughter. So my daughter told him everything.
Suva City Council Chief Executive Azam Khan has told FBC News they will investigate the matter, while the market master says he will comment later. Kelly Vadala, FBC News.
Business for market vendors in Singatoka town is starting to slowly pick up as we approach the end of 2020. FBC News spoke with some vendors who say it's been a year of struggle due to COVID-19 and with the borders still shut. Kelly Vavala again.
They come fully loaded in the morning with their produce, hoping it will be sold out by 5 p.m. We are used to seeing tourists here, but that is no more because our borders are closed. Even though we are earning a bit more now compared to the last 5 months, I'm thankful to the locals for supporting us and coming out to buy. For 60-year-old Mary Nambuliwai, it's about vendors working strategically to ensure their families are taken care of. She adds they have become resilient over the months.
I just want the borders to open when this pandemic ends. Even though I'm still going home with some money, it's not enough to sustain my family, but I understand our current situation and we are adjusting.
Even though sales may not be in their favor, expanding their income-generating activities has kept them going.
We have started putting down our produce price because it's mostly the locals who are coming out to buy now. Plus there is people traveling from Suva and the west, so we lower our retail prices because it is a difficult time too.
The Singatoka market has seen an increase in vendors over the last 5 months as people laid off from the hospitality sector take up farming. Kelly Vadala, FBC News.
Overseas, United States President is back on the campaign trail, helping boost Republican Senate chances. However, he was more focused on talking about election rigging. A female leader is one that makes others better as a result of her presence and making sure that impact lasts in her absence. In tonight's Successful Fijian, we bring you the story of the first female leader in Narikoso on Kandavu, Bulo Katerina Rarasea. Sanian Imboila reports for Bulo Katerina, some women are born leaders.
Leading the Yawusa Rabi in the village of Narikoso Ono Kandabu is a challenge that Bulo Katerina Rarasea enjoys.
I have been through a lot while leading my Yawusa. I knew I can be a good leader if I believe in God. I faced the challenges when I first took up the role. I knew that it wouldn't be easy. It needs great courage, and I also knew in my blood flows the leadership characteristics. I know I can make it, and this is what keeps me going until today.
Bulorara says it's been 2 years since she took over the leadership role from her late brother.
I took over this position from my late brother, and my other brother is in overseas. That is why I am currently leading the Rabi clan. I am doing this for my family and for my village.
Growing up in Narikoso, Bulo never thought she would lead the clan one day.
I grew up here in the village. I knew that one day I will lead the clan. It's an honor and a privilege. It's not easy, so I take one day at a time.
The 71-year-old Bulo says she doesn't always find a fault. She finds a remedy to every issue that arises.
When I call for a meeting and if there are issues, I try very hard to address it because I don't want people to go on their own ways. In my clan, I need people to work together and strive for better. When there are calls from Viti level, I try my best to fulfill it. I also want the upcoming generation to know that my clan is strong and has what it takes to be the best in the whole of Kandavu.
For the leader, listening to the members of her clan and working together is their only way forward.
Majority of the time, I listen to the men of the clan. I need to hear their voices. I listen to the women because they are the people that are doing the work for the clan. That is how I lead. I also want the best for the clan. I consider other people's decision as long as it's the best. I'm not doing this for my own benefit, but for the entire clan.
Bulo Katerina's advice to young women is to be authentic, be yourself, and own it. Sainiani Boila, FBC News.
Coming up in sports, Suva wins Fiji Fact. And a new champion crowned at Wairiki Sevens.
Pula natang ko aprostan ngarse, ko erkraki, do televizyon na barong na Radio Fiji 1, nandomo ibiti.
Radio Fiji 1, nandomo ibiti.
Vince Works Suva won the Vodafone Fiji Fact title, beating Easy Cool Nandi 1-0 in the final in a muddy Subrail Park in Labasa today. This is the third Fiji Fact title for the Whites, who made a slow start in the game. Tali Materakula with the details.
This win means Suva is the only other team apart from the hosts to win the Fiji Fact title in Lambasa, as it first did in 1995.
We love playing here. We love beating them in front of the home crowd. You know, we haven't lost with them this year. We have not lost to them this year with Nandi this year too. So I mean, it's a special occasion, you know.
An own goal by Nandi was the difference in the final, as both teams gave their all under heavy conditions.
I think it was an own goal. Suva did not capitalize on any of the time. They could not break our defense. It was our own goal. But overall, I think we played well, and we are just unlucky to get back to back.
Both teams had some good scoring chances, with Suva's Sairusi Nalaumbu and Nandi's Avinash Swami leading the charge. Nalaumbu scooped the Golden Boot Award for his 5 goals in the Fiji Fact, while goalkeeper Benjamin Matenagara won the Golden Glove Award.
It's very difficult coming to Suva and playing in the northern and achieving the Golden Boot Award. I would like to just thank the Lord Almighty for giving me the strength to achieve what I have achieved today.
One of the standout players in the competition is Suva's Shahil Dev, who was named Player of the Tournament.
Didn't expect that. I had a bit of confidence after I scored in the semi-finals.
Nandi made a late fight back, but the capital city side's defensive line was tighter, with Felipe Mbara Vilala, Chueli Ranitu, Simeon Nabenu, and Remo Ritekiate standing tall. Tale Materkula, FBC Sports.
A new champion has been crowned at the 13th Fiji Bita Wairiki Sevens in Taveuni. FDS Barbarians beat the Blue Gas Police Blue 24-5 to claim the title in front of about 7,000 people last night. Tale Narikoso again with more.
It was an intense final, two teams laced with the national training squad, bidding for a spot in the sevens team to the Olympics in Japan.
If it wasn't for him, I think we'll be on a losing side today. So I think the last time we played here is on I don't know, maybe 2012. We played Police 2 in the final. Both the rugby team, and we lost.
Playing under the watchful eyes of national sevens coach Gareth Baber, both teams looked to impress, much to the delight of the excited spectators. The FDS Barbarians, undefeated from their pool games, managed to cross the trial line 4 times to Tukitione Salawa. It's been 7 years since Tuai last played in Wairiki, and he is impressed with the level of rugby on display.
It's different. It's different. It's Fijian rugby. It's fast-paced, and it's physical.
Police Blue, boasting Kalion Inosoko, Waisia Nadungu and Levi Kanikonda, were no match for the Barbarians. Their lone try came from number 11, Maikeli Rokandinono.
You know, lots of players playing at a good level. What I look for is that level above again. What have they got in terms of makes them different? You know, is it size, physicality, is it speed, is it ball skills, is it understanding of the game? And all of these things go beyond just whether a player gets on the field and does what he does.
The Fiji Bita Wairiki Sevens is the biggest sevens tournament in Taveuni. Tale Narikoso, FBC Sports.
The Southern Forest Navo futsal team will be one of the teams to reckon with in years to come. Though Navo bowed out in the 2020 Vodafone Futsal IDC semi-final, the side put up a good fight against Pacifica Tense Taxis and Tours Lami, but lost 2-3 at the FMF Gymnasium in Suva. Caroline Tavi has more.
Having only reached the playoffs in the 2019 Vodafone Futsal IDC, Navua managed to make it to the semi-final this time around.
I'm really happy with the boys' performance today. A couple of our boys were injured, they still gave their 100%. We went down with a good fight, but I'm not disappointed with the boys. It was a good match.
Despite not being able to feature key players in the semi-finals due to injury, Navua manager Kushal Kumar says it is not the end of the road for them.
Division of boys from the senior division leagues, it was a milestone for us, and even our futsal boys gave their best. It's not that the 11-side boys came and helped. Regardless of what, we learn a lot from this, and promising the fans that will come bigger and stronger.
Navua rep Savindranath says the sport has evolved, but there is more awareness needed for it to grow in Fiji.
Futsal in Fiji has definitely evolved. Before we would see just a few teams playing bazaar and just like self-organized tournaments, but now it's under the Fiji football banner and organized in a proper way.
In the second semi-final, HLB Manjud Suva defeated Tailevo Naitasiri 4-1 today. Caroline Tavi, FBC Sports.
The Maori All Blacks had to come from behind to beat Moana Pacifica 28-21 last night. The combined Pacific Island team led 9-7 at halftime. Here are the tries.
Coming now for Hall. Oh, Trust has just cut them open. Well, he was denied moments ago, but not this time. The brilliant young fullbacks. Hall getting hands on the ball in case he needs it. He doesn't need it. They go to the line. They're over. And you know who's going to come up with this, don't you? Fires the pass away. Tupaia now into a bit of space. Quinn Tupaia puts it onto the ball. Gets the bounce. Pushes the ball back in field. Billy Proctor scores. Wonderful try. Nana Situru, the replacement. They go to the right, and it's a try. Black now, quickly on through the hands. Carpack scores. And good, powerful scrum. Tolotaivo. He's over, is he? Yes.
2 weeks after their 15-all draw, the Wallabies and Argentina Pumas saw out their 2020 campaigns with a nail-biting 16-all tie in the Tri-Nations finale. The Wallabies finished bottom of the Tri-Nations series, won by the All Blacks. A trough of low pressure lies over Fiji and continues to move eastwards towards the group. Associated cloud and rain continues to affect the northern and eastern parts of the country. In the west, cloudy periods with isolated afternoon or evening showers and possible thunderstorms. Eastwards from Pacific Harbour to Suva, occasional showers and isolated thunderstorms. And up north, more rain and thunderstorms. At sea, east to northeast winds, 15 to 20 knots, moderate to rough seas, moderate southwest swells, poor visibility in areas of heavy rain and thunderstorms. Turning to the tides, the next high tide is at 12:04 a.m., low tide at 6:16, sunrise at 5:22. For tomorrow, occasional rain, heavy at times, and a few thunderstorms over the eastern half of Vanua-Levu, Taviuni, and nearby smaller islands, Lau and Lomaiviti group. Looking further, occasional showers and a few thunderstorms the eastern parts and interior of the larger islands, Lomaiviti and Lau group. Fine apart from isolated afternoon or evening showers and possible thunderstorms elsewhere. Recapping the main stories, 2 expats isolated in Nauvoo for COVID-19 treatment, Kava exports improve, and consultations on housing lots extended. For these stories and others, you can tune in daily to our sister radio station, Gold FM. To our poll question, this week we're asking, should William Ngavoka be given the position of opposition leader? Visit our FBC website to answer. You can send us newsworthy pictures and videos on email fbcnews@fbc.com.fj or share it with us via our Facebook and Twitter accounts. That's your news for tonight. Until tomorrow, keep safe and good night.
कुमार साहब नायक है गोंगवा लेबू लटोका रेडियो फीजी 2 में